Downtown, I got that heat, let's go. Damn Sonic.
What up, nation? What is going on, good people? Hope everyone is doing well out there. Happy Thursday, Friday Eve, Friday Junior, however you refer to it. June 22nd, 2023 edition of the SMT Podcast. My good people, you are in full effect, and so am I. Yeah. Alright, let's say some hellos to some people that are in the live chat. I see a lot of my members. I see my mods. I see my supporters. Alright, we got Josh Posey. What is up, dude? MS is in the house. Dusty is here. Chain. South Joe. Mark. Zero Cool. Welcome. Who else we got here? Gene is in the house. TJ is here. Alrighty. Alright, folks. So in the attempt to try to support the SMT, we do have memberships, and those memberships get you perks. And they give you all types of goodies and benefits. If you want to join us here on the YouTube membership side, all you got to do is hit the join button. It's down there by my channel name from where you are viewing. I think the only way you can't add the membership is on iOS. But if you're on your browser on your desktop, or if you're on Android, I think you can hit the join button. It's there. So what you can get: early access content, exclusive content, extra live streams, member chat streams, of course all the different images and pictures that I share. There's a bunch of reasons to do it, and of course you're supporting the SMT and all the productions here on the channel. Alright, if you want something a little bit more, you want to take a next level, you can support us on Patreon. There are links for that in the description. Just thought I'd throw that out there to you guys. And of course, you know, with Patreon, you get all the same things as the membership, but you do get some extra stuff as well. Alright, let's see here. Am I cooking here? Is the audio good? Is it crispy, folks? Let me know. Let me know. Okay. I see myself. Video is there. Audio should be good. I don't think anything has changed since the last time I checked my settings. And I really want to take off the headphones because I don't need them. Alright, let's see. Let me get rid of these things. Alright, there we go. We are golden. As I said in the open, happy Thursday, good people. I went ahead and I put up a poll. All clear on the audio. Thanks, Tech. Appreciate it. Okay, so I put up a poll, and in the poll, I asked the question: how much of an issue is a home broadband data cap? And the reason I'm asking is because that's going to be one of the concepts or the topics built within today's show. And I want to kind of get a little bit of feedback from you guys here and see what you have to say on it. So let's start with that poll. Just go ahead in the live chat. You'll see the 3 options. So how much of an issue is a home broadband data cap? Basically saying if a home broadband data cap was instituted into your plan or put into your plan, is that something that's very important to you? Do you feel strongly against it? Right, that sort of thing. Or is it only somewhat important, meaning it not really sure if it's going to impact you or not? Or do you think it's not important? You think it's not an issue? Let's hear what you guys have to say on that. Go ahead and hit me with your vote. You guys can get that in the live chat. Interested to see how that turns out. All right, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and start with the first story with tonight's show. This one should be good. It's intriguing. I like the concept of satellite internet with respect to kind of like a backup plan when you don't have terrestrial cellular coverage. I think it's a very cool feature. It's got a lot of potential. All right, and it looks like we got our first test of it. All right, this one is from fiercewireless.com. AST Space Mobile touts 10 megabit per second downlink speeds during tests in Hawaii. Aloha to the fine folks. Okay, so demonstrating 10 megabits per second during the tests of Blue Walker 3. It's a satellite designed to provide connectivity directly to unmodified cell phones via 3GPP standard frequencies. All right, so that means it's 5G ready. I'm not sure what band this is. I'm not sure about the, whatever it is, but good to know that that's probably regular licensed spectrum. Okay, it says here, engineers conducted download speed tests in Hawaii during June using multiple off-the-shelf smartphones. So you probably have an iPhone and you probably have a Galaxy there, probably. Okay, so from the press release, the CEO and chairman called this achievement another groundbreaking moment in telecom history, an important step towards AST Space Mobile's goal of bringing broadband services to parts of the world where cell coverage is either unreliable or does not exist. It says here it was 4G LTE download speed testing using AT&T Spectrum, Nokia radio access network technology, 10.3 megs, further testing of voice calls to AT&T employees. So it looks like it's basically just people are using their phones as they normally would. Okay, so the data transmissions and calling. Double-digit download speeds during satellite to smartphone testing takes us one step closer to ensuring people across the U.S. will be able to stay connected no matter their location. Pretty impressive stuff. That comment from Chris Sandbar, the head of the AT&T network. Must be the technology guy, I believe. Next major test involves the enablement of 5G broadband. Okay, so the testing was actually 4G LTE. Next is they're going to do 5G. I wonder what frequency they're going to use. I wonder what that's going to be. There's some places where they have the 850 megahertz low band. Obviously, some places they do PCS, AWS mid band. They've got C-band. They've got DoD. I doubt those will be used for this, but you never know. But the fact, folks, is that, it says here, the call was made from Midland, Texas to Rakuten, Japan. That was the first voice calls they made, and that was over AT&T's Band 5, 850 megahertz. All right, guys. This is pretty cool. This is something that I've said in the past. I felt that AST and AT&T were further along than T-Mobile and, SpaceX, Starlink. I always felt like that whole Elon Musk, Mike Seaver thing was all a publicity stunt. I didn't really think they were all that close to anything. Just based on the information in the articles we read a couple of weeks ago, we saw that there was a lot of objection to T-Mobile and SpaceX in what they were doing. They didn't have any experimental data. They didn't have any testing that they were able to share and disclose and provide to the FCC. Avoiding interference and testing and things like that, and actual real-world performance. So this is kind of what they're alluding to. T-Mobile wasn't doing this sort of thing, right? So this is all the technical aspects of showing and proving and demonstrating, and then taking it to the big time. So I would say that if you are an AT&T customer, you are very happy about this, because this probably puts you one step closer to actually having this on your phone enabled at some point in the near term. All right, so what's the time frame? We're in 2023. We're in the summer. I'd say this is probably going to be ready to go probably next year. We'll start to see the first users actually making those connections and calls. You guys will see like the SOS thing at the top right-hand side of the display on your iPhones. When this stuff goes live, you're going to have connection. It'll probably put a little satellite icon up there to let you know that you're on satellite. The nice thing here is that it's showing data throughput. I'm not sure, how much they can actually give you because it's probably going to be a scarce resource. But they'll give you something. You know what I mean? Probably good enough for calling and texting. I'm not sure how much data you could use, maybe to run some low throughput demand apps. Maybe some communications. WhatsApp or something like that. Or Snapchat would be usable, right? But you're not going to be downloading episodes off of Netflix, and you're not going to be watching 4K content on this connection. It ain't going to be like that. I don't know. Maybe it's time we start thinking about which plans are going to have this. You guys really think that maybe AT&T would charge for this? Maybe it's included in like their premium plan, and it's kind of like one of those upsell things. We'll see. I feel like that's probably what they want to do. I think that's probably what the iPhone, wants to do, with Apple and stuff like that. So we'll see how it plays out. But this does put us one step closer, to terrestrial and satellite connectivity. Pretty cool stuff. You guys know I feel quite caffeinated today. Had me some coffee. Speaking of which, if you guys want to support the SMT, you can buy us a coffee. The real SMT Buy Me a Coffee link is in the description. You guys can use that and get the SMT caffeinated and motivated. And don't forget, right now there's a huge deflation promo going on with MIP Mobile. They've got the new customer offer where if you guys want to save some serious money, use our partner link and you can get a great deal on wireless service. mintmobile.com/sneed will get you these savings. All plans are currently $15 per month, including the normally $30 per month plan. Right, so that unlimited plan is basically 50% off. So use our partner link. It's in the description. Unlock those savings. Obviously, you'll be supporting the channel, and you'll be doing us a solid. And then, of course, getting a great deal on your wireless service. And they've got that legendary customer care. You just simply can't beat it. I know a lot of people have been looking for a better deal on wireless service, and now we've got that kind of going. So check it out. All right, next up. U.S. Cellular lights up 3.45 gigahertz in parts of 10 states. All right, this news actually was released today. I was not expecting this. I know a lot of people are very down on U.S. Cellular, but this is good news, I think. All right, so notice that it says parts of 10 states, so they're not really a statewide provider, right? They're more of like a market-based provider, and most of their coverage, I believe, is in the Midwest. But this 3.45 gigahertz, that's DoD, folks. Right? AT&T's got some of that. Dish has some of that. T-Mobile has some of that. Right? And so does U.S. Cellular. All right, let's see what this is about here. It says that they have officially announced the launch of its 5G mid-band network using the 3.45 gigahertz spectrum they acquired through the auction in 2021. They said that by the end of June, the mid-band 5G network will be available mainly in parts of Illinois, Iowa, and Wisconsin, including sections of Rockford, Des Moines, and Milwaukee. All right, so I got a homie who lives in the Milwaukee area, and he's probably going to be excited to see some of this gear going up. It says communities in Maine, Missouri, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Oregon, Virginia, and Washington also included in the initial rollout. By the end of the year, U.S. Cellular plans to uncover more than 1 million households in its operating footprint with the 5G mid-band network. I'm not sure how much spectrum do they have. How much spectrum do they have in the 3.45? It says here that they spent $579 million on the DoD. They also bought C-band at $1.46 billion in 2021. That spectrum starts to become available later this year. So that's the B and C block spectrum of C-band. Anything else? Any other details here? It says here rapid acceleration of the spectrum to occur in 2024. So it'll be a bigger rollout next year. The company is using infrastructure gear from Nokia and Ericsson. So that tells you about the RAN operator, RAN OEM. Number of devices today that support the mid-band. So basically it's, your newer iPhones, your iPhone 14 generation, and your Galaxies, your newer Galaxies, S22s, S23s, stuff like that. The company expects nearly 3 million households in its operating footprint will have access to the 5G mid-band connectivity by the end of 2024. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's put US Cellular on the C-band situation. All right, exciting times for US Cellular. Now, I don't live in a US Cellular market. In fact, I don't really live close to one. So it's not something that I would readily be able to test under normal circumstances. I think Carlos S. Tech might have a line. I got some friends who live in the Midwest who have lines and stuff like that. Some people in the South too, I think. I think North Carolina, they got it too. So they'll have the ability to use these frequencies in the spectrum. Dude, I don't know if you guys know this, but freaking air conditioning is cold. And hold on a second. I'm getting my red hoodie up. Make it official, All right, let's see. You guys know I always rock the hoodie during the podcast. All right. Whew. Yeah, that's better. Cold. Air conditioning working. All right, let's hit the next story, shall we? All right, let me get this out of the way so we can see the title. All right, cable's broadband ARPU to rise, but subs growth will be minimal, according to analysts. Oh, sheesh. And cable's something I've been following pretty close. It's an interesting dynamic, the battle that's going on between cable and wireless operators. All right, so U.S. cable operators enjoyed rocketing broadband subscriber growth during the earlier phases of the pandemic. They've been in quarters-long period of smaller, flat sub growth, along with some instances of decline. That's basically been like the last year for cable. That's what it's been. Okay, so here's the cable broadband subscriber growth year over year. You guys can track, each quarter going back to 2015. So check this out, right? And I'll just pull me out of here for a second. All right, you'll see the growth is pretty steady, 2015 through 2016, and then like Q3, Q4, we got a dip, and then through the rest of 2017, we got dips, right? So the growth is slowing, and then in like 2018, it kind of bottoms, and then through the rest of 2018, it increases slowly. Then it's basically flat through 2019, and then in 2020 Q1, you see it go from a 5.1% growth rate to a 6.9%. So that's obviously related to the COVID-19 pandemic. And then it kind of increases again, right, up to 7.4%, then it's at 7.3. So this is the pandemic spike right here. Now here's what happened, right? 2021, we see it decelerate from 7.3% to 6.9, and then in Q2 of 2021 and Q3 of 2021, you see a pretty steep drop from 6.9 to 5.5, then to 4.4, then to 3.8, and it's decreasing really, really fast. Then by the time you get into 2022, you're now down into the 3 and 2 and 1% increase growth. And then by the time you get to Q4 2022, you basically have no growth. And then in Q1 of 2023, they had negative or no growth, basically. And if you're not growing, you ain't doing it. So that's basically what's happened to cable. Now, there's a couple of things happening here. Number one, they accelerated their growth for several quarters. Well, how much growth can you do, right? So they basically maxed out. Factor number two is fixed wireless access. T-Mobile Home Internet has taken their share. Verizon Home Internet is taking their share. Those companies, they've been growing too. So those are all factors and part of it. But again, this article is really about ARPU. It says here, amid all of this, cable operators are urging investors to consider ARPU, or average revenue per user, not raw subscriber growth, as the metric upon which to judge their broadband business. The quote here: "We believe it is not an overstatement to say that the trajectory of broadband ARPU is now likely the most important issue for cable investors." That's according to Cable Craig. For you guys who don't know who that is, that's Craig Moffett of Moffett-Nathanson Analysts. He says, in the absence of unit growth, ARPU growth is, well, everything. And of course, ARPU is what gets thrown around the wireless industry with T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T. He had some good and bad news to share for the broadband outlook. ARPU is expected to grow in the coming years, but still believes that the industry's broadband subgrowth will be minimal going forward, losing share to fiber and fixed wireless competition. So let's make sure, we make something very, very clear here, and I've highlighted it here in this blue. Fiber, 9 times out of 10, is going to beat cable. Right? It's a superior product, it's a superior service, and people obviously want it. It's just more reliable, and it's better, and it's newer, and it's more capable. It's all those things. Fixed wireless access, on the other hand, is not, in the technology sense, better than cable coaxial or fiber. But what fixed wireless access does is it usually comes in at a decent price. It's usually becoming available to people who haven't had competition and other competitors. So that's one of those things. But they're going to continue to take their share. Fiber is going to continue to take their share. And the growth for cable is just going to suck. I guess a good growth quarter is going to be 1% for them. A 2% growth quarter is going to be like earth-shattering. It's just not going to be much growth. So they're going to be focusing on ARPU. They're going to be focusing on profits. Comcast expects sub growth at 0.7% in 2025, 26, and 27. And that does not include any subsidized rural builds, so that'll probably increase that uptake. The BEAD program, obviously, those types of things can help them. Okay, so anything we need to know about ARPU here? Well, that's pretty much it. They're just saying judge us on ARPU. Stop judging us on growth. All right, so we'll be sure to do that for you, cable. You suck. All right, let's see what else here. Broadband pricing and speed options vary by operator and market. Meanwhile, no uniform ARPU metric among U.S. cable operators. Moffett covers. It says Cable One, an operator with little fiber overlap, tops the list at $83.58. Holy crap. Do you guys know where there's Cable One markets? I've never heard of this company, Cable One. But that is a very healthy ARPU, $83.58. Wow. So basically, I would guess that wherever Cable One is, they have no competition, and they can basically charge whatever the hell they want. I would guess that their entry-level plan is $80, and then their next plan's like $100, and then they got like a $150 one or something. Altice USA, you guys know Optimum, Suddenlink. They've got an ARPU of $74.65. That's pretty good too. Comcast has a very healthy ARPU, $70.92. Why did they put Cable One again? Anyways. All right, it says here, the quote from Moffett-Nathanson, to state the obvious, it's harder to grow a $75 ARPU than it is to grow a $67 one. All right, so it's all about ARPU. That's interesting stuff here. I'm interested about the ARPU play. Basically, the way, folks, that they're going to try to increase ARPU is two things. Number one, increase prices. So where they can pull it off without any type of negative pushback from consumers, they'll just raise rates on people, right? So if your plan used to cost you $50, they'll try to charge you $60. If your plan was $65, they'll try to move you to 80, right, or something like that. And then, of course, the other way to increase ARPU is to restructure plans and offer higher capacity tiers and then charge you more, right, for those upgraded plans, right? Get you to bump up to a higher speed, a higher bit rate. You know, if you're at the 300 megabit per second, they're going to try to explain to you, you need a 500 megabit, and then they'll bump you up from the 65 to the 80 or something like that. That's how they'll want to do that with the upsell. Let's see here. Ohio Rail Fan, thank you, man. Appreciate it. That's the first super chat of the night. Big shout out to Tone with the $5 super chat. Thanks for breaking the seal, man. Appreciate it. All right, good stuff here. All right, now I did the poll, and I got the poll in the live chat. For those of you that haven't got a chance to vote, go ahead and do that now. And I was asking the question, how much of an issue is a home broadband data cap? Is it very important, somewhat important, or not important? And here's why. Chairwoman of the FCC, Jessica Rosenworcel, tees up FCC Data Cap inquiry. Okay, so what's the business here? It says Commission Chair proposes notice of inquiry, seeks consumer input. Okay, so the FCC is going to launch an inquiry into data caps and usage-based pricing, which have long been in the ISP broadband offering arsenal, which have drawn criticism from Democrats and streamers like Netflix that root for as much consumer bandwidth as possible. As of Thursday, June 15th, she was asking her fellow commissioners to approve this notice of inquiry. She wants to know how ISPs, home ISPs, are kind of conducting their business with respect to usage data caps. So for those of you, maybe you aren't privy to this, maybe your providers don't do this. I know that in the past, most of my providers, Cox Communications obviously being one of them, they have usage caps. If you go over 1 terabyte, they will send you an email, right? A notice saying, hey, this month you used over, whatever, 1.2 terabytes of data. If you do this again, you're going to have to pay a penalty or a fee. It's like $50 to go unlimited, or it's, I forget the way they structured it. I think it was an additional $20 for another 100 gigs of data or something. This was years ago. This was actually when I was renting way back, and this may have been actually before the YouTube channel. And the reason why we were using so much data is because we stream our TV. And, when you start watching content, especially 4K content, you'll chew up those gigs of data really fast. Guys, I'm not a fan of data caps. You know what I mean? Not a fan of data caps at all. But, these companies want to do it. That's how they want to monetize. They want to sell you the unlimited feature to generate some additional monetization. All right, so caps were generally suspended by ISPs during COVID-19, given the dramatic rise in at-home work and learning. Rosenworcel suggests that the return of such caps after the COVID-19 pandemic could cause harm to consumers and competition, and thus the access to broadband that is a must-have in today's online society. All right, so what the commission is doing is they want to open a new consumer portal. You guys can find it here. It's actually in the article, fcc.gov/data cap stories. Collect data on the real-world impacts of data caps, both fixed and wireless. All right, her statement. When we need access to the internet, we aren't thinking about how much data it takes to complete a task. We just know it needs to get done. It's time the FCC takes a fresh look at how data caps impact customers and competition. Guys, I encourage you, if you have a moment, to go to the website, fcc.gov/data cap stories, and share with the FCC your objection to data caps. Let them know how harmful they are, right? Let them know how they would negatively impact you, or if they have negatively impacted you in the past. Because, think about it. Like, if you got a family, and you've got entertainment, you've got TV, you've got movies, and then, of course, you've got work, you got schoolwork, you have content creators. There's so many data-intensive tasks. Having data caps feels so primitive. It feels so old school and old fashioned. I personally, like, when I look at my family usage, we use probably like 800-900 gigs on the typical month. But there's probably some months where we go over a terabyte. And there's probably some months where we're like 600-700 gigs. But to know that if you go over, it's going to really be a problem, that's not a world I want to live in. You know, so check into this and see if you guys can help out your fellow man. I think you'd be doing more good for people than harm if you took the time to do this. So definitely consider, you know, checking out that inquiry by the FCC. So I asked, and it looks like the nation has spoken. We got our votes in. I absolutely love it. How much of an issue is a home broadband data cap? 70% said it's very important. 30% said it's not important. Nobody said somewhat important. All right, really good stuff. Thanks for voting, folks. Appreciate it. Oh, it was 80% said it was very important. 10% said it was somewhat important, and not important was 8%. Okay, so that's pretty good. Very happy about the outcome in that poll. All right, good stuff. Sorry about that view. All right, let's go to the next one. This is the AT&T story. Okay. Let me just take a sip of agua. By the way, we had 56 votes in tonight's poll. AT&T says we've won broadband funding for 130,000 locations in the past year. What is this about? All right, AT&T says it has leveraged public-private partnerships to bring its broadband fiber network to more than 130,000 locations during the past year. Funding for these projects includes funding from the American Rescue Plan Act and investment from the carrier. An AT&T spokesperson declined to provide the dollar amount that AT&T received in funding, but did provide total costs for all of or many of the projects. The total costs include the funding that AT&T received plus the money that AT&T is contributing to the project costs. Read on for the details. So why doesn't AT&T want to disclose that? Why you got to be so shady, AT&T? When are you going to change? All right, AT&T estimates that the U.S. has invested $13 billion in projects funded through the American Rescue Plan Act. The ARPA estimate includes funding from the state and from the state and local fiscal recovery fund and the capital projects fund. Okay, here are some states included. I see Texas, I see Kansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Indiana. So that's where AT&T's fiber projects have been. They did Ohio pretty good. I know that. AT&T pointed to 2 states in which it invested its own funds in addition to those from the federal government. In Indiana, it has committed to serve more than 38,000 addresses across 14 counties. Most recently, it said it would connect more than 2,300 customer locations in Lawrence County. South Carolina, they're in Charleston and Greenville, bringing fiber to almost 7,000 locations in Charleston and almost 2,500 in Greenville. Wow. Okay, so here's the locations in Indiana. They got a $2.5 million project in Lawrence County. All right, here's some other ones. Vanderburgh, Boonville, Martinsville, Delaware County. South Carolina, we just named. All right, you got Sedgwick County, Kansas, DeSoto, Mississippi, Oldham, Kentucky, Amarillo, Texas, Louisiana parishes. Oh, they're pretty busy. And all those are multi-million-dollar projects. AT&T winning, folks. Getting that funding and building that fiber. Now, the reason I covered this story is because I was going to lead into the next story up here on the screen. According to the AT&T CFO, DeRoche, we're the biggest U.S. provider of fiber and adding more than anyone else. You guys think that's true? Let's see. AT&T, the largest fiber provider in the U.S., and we're adding more than anybody else, according to Pascal DeRoche at an investor conference today. I think this was yesterday, actually. Just a few months after DeRoche foretold the fall of fixed wireless access, arguing that the customer is ultimately going to reject it, DeRoche was less negative about the technology today. Oh, man. AT&T backtracking on fixed wireless access. Oh, very fickle indeed. Fixed wireless access makes sense for some rural communities where there's a lack of business case for other technologies, DeRoche said. The technology also may make sense for connections to businesses that don't need to support video traffic. Oh, man. AT&T. AT&T's hilarious, man. You guys notice that they're starting to change their tone on fixed wireless access as they see T-Mobile kicking ass, adding 5G home internet customers, 500,000 plus every quarter. You got Verizon doing the same thing, adding 200, 300,000 every quarter, right? They're adding more and more every quarter, and they get asked every quarter by investors, where's the fixed wireless? What do you think of the growth? What do you think of the gains by your competitors? And they had to do it. They gave into the pressure. They knew they were going to have to do it. And they tried to save face. Look how they did this, right? They said business connections that don't need to support video traffic, right? They're basically trying to hold up to what they were saying before, right? That customers were going to reject it because it doesn't have the real capacity that people need. But see, that's the thing. Fixed wireless access has the ability to do anything. I get it. It's a finite resource and all those things, but there's ways to do this, and there's places you can do this. Because obviously AT&T is not going to put fiber on every square inch of this country. Where it becomes really hard is if you put it out where you have a significant wireless footprint. All right, so basically what he's talking about is sharing the mobile network with the fixed wireless access network. If you got a lot of market share, if you got a lot of users on the mobile network, it's not really a good way to go, he's saying. He said in that situation, AT&T would have to invest in the wireless network to support the fixed offering, and that's not the best technology in which to invest, he said. To the extent we have access capital, let's invest in fiber. I actually agree. It always makes sense to go with fiber, right? Fiber is the best technology when it comes to broadband. But like I said, there's situations and there's places where the fixed makes sense, right? So he's describing one of those instances where it doesn't. He said AT&T can offer fiber broadband at a meaningful discount to cable and move up the ARPU, average revenue per user, stack with the fiber offer. In addition, he said fiber expansion will allow the company to offload more wireless traffic onto fiber. And he cited the preference for fiber in government broadband funding programs that could help further fiber expansion. It's true. AT&T doesn't really want to spend their own dollars. They'd rather use government funding to really bolster their fiber expansion. DeRoche touched briefly on the company's Gigapower joint venture with BlackRock to deploy fiber outside of AT&T's local service territory. He reiterated plans to build initially to 1.5 million locations and added that if we're successful, there's no reason we should stop there. Okay, so their goal is to get to 1.5 million locations and beyond if things are working out well. He noted that broadband margins will improve as the company closes out copper network infrastructure. They're shutting down DSL. He said, quote, "We'll be the only company with an at-scale mobility and an at-scale fiber business." Well, what about Verizon, though? Obviously, nobody can really poo-poo on Verizon's wireless network on a national scale. And then when it comes to fiber, they're going to put 50% of their tower sites on their own MCI fiber, and then they've got the enterprise and they've got the FiOS. Well, you didn't feel like giving Verizon a shout out? They kind of deserved one there, don't you think? Anyways, I got to go back and watch this conference. There's a lot of details in here. These articles just give you a quick little summary, but I'm sure there's a lot of goodies in there. All right. What do I want to cover next? Probably this Verizon news. And I'll talk more about this topic here in a video that'll be dropped tomorrow. All right, from the telecompetitor, Verizon touts successful end-to-end 5G network slicing demo. Ooh, I like the sound of that. All right, there you go. You guys could see the title. Yep, network slicing demo. All right, let's read the details. Verizon says that it has established connections and passed data over multiple network slices in a commercial 5G environment. Network slicing is the creation of end-to-end networks that are customized to specific customer requirements. For instance, network slices can feature lower latency to serve gamers, higher levels of security to protect financial institutions, or characteristics that support IoT networks. I'll give you guys some examples of this, right? You guys know the bearded dragon. We've been talking about zero trust for years now, right? So that extra level of security, network slicing feature. Another example of network slicing use cases, gaming. Why gaming? Gaming is latency sensitive. To have a really good networking experience in the gaming experience, you want a consistently low latency so that way there's no lag between you and the game servers, especially in online gaming. So you're playing FIFA, you're playing 2K, you're playing Madden against somebody halfway across the world, you're playing first-person shooters, right? Those are probably some of the more latency demanding requirements, right, for those games. You want the latency low, and you want it consistently low. You don't want it being jittery. You don't want the latencies being inconsistent up and down, and getting dropped frames and stuff like that. And then, of course, there's all types of things like with IoT. Anyways, what the network slicing allows you to do is to build little mini networks within networks, right? So take, for example, like Verizon's got their huge nationwide network. You are in a location in Biloxi, Mississippi, and you got a food truck out there, and you need to do point of sales. You don't need a lot of bandwidth, but you want to serve your customers quickly, and you need to process the transactions, you know, credit cards and stuff like that very quickly, Apple Pay, all those things. So when at the POS, at the point of sales with those little, you know, whatever hardware you have, the little payment terminals, you want to get that transaction done quick so you can get on to the next customer, right? So maybe you don't need a lot of bandwidth, but you need good latency. That's what a network slice can give you. Maybe you're, you know, running, you know, security cameras or security sensors, right? Or maybe you're doing sensors for inventory, right? Or something like that. And they need specific network requirements. You build slices, or you make and produce slices for those things, right? So whether it's, you know, production and manufacturing, or it's AR and VR, or whatever it is, security, having a, you know, this unique network slicing capability allows a company like Verizon to say, hey, SneedMobile Tech Enterprises, we can create this network slice for you. Just tell us what you need. We'll build it. We'll make it for you. We'll, you know, software defined, and we can guarantee this and all of that. That's what it's really about. You're not going to Verizon and asking for a network slice, right? No, you're not going to go on the Verizon website and say, hey, I'd like to sign up for a network slice. That's not what it's going to be. You're going to go to Verizon and you're going to say, look, I got this use case, and I need this type of network access, this type of latency, this type of bandwidth, this type of throughput. Can you do this? And Verizon is going to say, yes, we can build you, construct this network access for you, software defined, right? fully automated, modernized, and all this new capability and stuff like that. Over an SA 5G core, of course, and they'll make you a network. And the way I described it to Gene, big shout out to Gene, he's in the live chat. If the network is a big box, network slices are little boxes within the big box, right? It's a part of the big box, but it's a separate box for what you need for your use cases. So maybe the SMT Nation one day, maybe the SMT HQ gets a network slice for live streaming, dedicated uplink, a jitter-free connection, ultra-low latencies, that sort of thing for uploading content and live streaming. I think some of the stuff that's probably most important currently in network slicing is obviously the fact that it's on the edge, it's in the cloud. For now, we're probably thinking about it from the enterprise standpoint. How many devices can you put on a network, right? Well, that's what this testing is all about, like these network slices. It says here that Verizon in the trials included testing using commercially available smartphones. So to me, that means iPhone, Android, right? So probably like either a Google Pixel or probably a Galaxy, right? Samsung Galaxy S22 or S23, and probably like the iPhone 13 or 14. I think iOS has been able to work compatible with network slicing for either this generation and or last generation as well. I know Androids since last year have been able to tap in to network slicing. I think I remember reading about it with the Google Pixel 6. So that would tell me that basically all the Galaxies and Pixel phones from last year and this year are good with network slicing, which is cool, It says here they've been working with all their RAN operators, so that would be Verizon, Nokia, that's some old legacy tech, and then Samsung. Ericsson, Nokia, Samsung. Yep. All right. Validated the ability of the device chipset, OS, application, radio network base station, and the core of the network to create the end-to-end path. So yeah, this is pretty big. I think this is an instance, folks, where Verizon is going to be ready once they turn on the SA core at some point this year, because basically it's a spectrum thing, right? Once Verizon has all of their C-band spectrum and they've got most of the network sites upgraded, you put those things together and you have yourself a very tangible 5G network. But you got to get most of your sites upgraded. So that's really what this is all about. It's about the bandwidth. It's about the tower site upgrades, the modernization process. Obviously, they want to get 10 gig fiber to as many sites as possible. But all these sites have to have C-band. A lot of them, we'll see what happens with N48, with cbrs. And I think millimeter wave is going to be a big part of this too, especially in the enterprise use case. The higher the frequencies, the better. Very, very huge. This is awesome. Very glad to see it. Yeah, so I thought about this from like a business standpoint, right? If I'm a business customer, right? Let's say I own like an internet cafe of some sort, and I got a bunch of AR, VR headsets. I got the new Apple Vision Pro or whatever it's called. I got like 10 of those. Right, I got people in these immersive apps, and I got all these different experiences for augmented reality and virtual reality. Or maybe I'm doing like flight simulation or driving simulation, driving school, driver's ed. Just think of all these different applications, right? Verizon could be the company that gives you that network slice that you need for those applications. And of course, you can create network slices at universities and colleges, right? Those are applications in education. You could see it in apartment complexes. You could see it with the enterprise use cases. I think for cars, right? Autonomous vehicles, them getting slices, right? Who knows? Parking meters, right? Digital stuff, sky's the limit. Sensors, within manufacturing facilities. instantaneous inventory monitoring. You could think of 100 things that could probably utilize these features and then take advantage of network slicing. So this is a cool demo, and it's exciting. I mean, this is just a one step forward in the kind of process and the transition to standalone 5G networking. All right, good stuff. What up, Tito? Seeing you here at the end. Big shout out to all my mods, everybody with the blue wrench, Baby Yoda, Tito. Big shout out to my members also. I see Gene in the house. Everybody that was in the live chat, I see MS now. Mark as well. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. Appreciate you watching the show. Real quick, just a reminder, you want to support the SMT, you can buy us a coffee. Link is in the description. If you're looking for a really good deal on wireless service, look no further than the mipmobile.com/sneed partner link. Use it. They got the 50% off the unlimited plan right now, $30 a month usually. All right, now you'll get it for $15. Just use our partner link. It'll be in the description. And that's pretty much it. Let's take the show home. Hey, if it's your first time here, my live stream got recommended to you. Welcome to the SMT Nation. Consider subscribing. All right, join us on our journey as we seek out the most up-to-date information in the wireless and mobile network operator space. All right, so hit that subscribe button. If you're looking for additional content, if you're looking for more access, you can join us here on the YouTube membership side. Just hit the join button. It's right next to the subscription option where my channel name is and my channel page. You can also get additional access through the Sneed Mobile Tech Patreon page. Join the dozens and dozens of patrons supporting the SMT and getting additional content that way. Link will be in the description. Hit me with your favorite hashtags. Hashtag Mod Squad, hashtag 2LiveCrew, hashtag Replay Crew, hashtag Ravioli Gang. Everybody hanging out with me tonight. Thank you guys so very much. And it's been great hosting this podcast for you. I hope you all have a great rest of the evening, day, whenever you're listening or watching this. Special thanks and big shout out to the YouTube members and patrons for making content on this channel possible and supporting us. And of course, never any disrespect to, passive viewers or whatever. It's obviously all these different things are extras, and we appreciate the support. But for everybody who comments in the videos and engages in the content, thank you. In fact, if you're watching this on replay, hit me with your favorite hashtag. Drop me a comment. Let me know that you appreciate the content here on the channel. Show your love and support for the SMT. Thanks to Ohio Railfan for the super chat. You guys are so amazing, always so supportive of the SMT. And I'll be sure to check out your email, brother. Definitely will. Thank you guys for watching. We out this piece. Peace.